Hi, and welcome to day 3 of the Seattle Shirt Sew-Along. Today, we will be wrapping up construction by attaching our neckband, both the scoop and the V-neck versions, and then we will be hemming. And tomorrow, we'll have an extra day for asking questions and getting help and finishing your project. And the next day, you can post your finished project, and I am so excited to see everyone's finished projects. So, we'll see you there. We will now begin construction and application of the scoop neckband. I have my bodice constructed here, and I have the side seams sewn. If you have opted to wait to sew the side seams, that's fine. The neckband construction will still be the same. This is simply my method that I will be showing you today, and I prefer to sew the side seams before attaching the neckband. So you will have your neckband cut out here, with the direction of stretch running this way along the length of your neckband. You will have it cut out so that you have the notches here in the center and also the notches on the fold line. You open your neckband and lay it flat with the right side of the fabric facing up. We are now going to fold the neckband in half lengthwise, lining up the short ends. We will now sew across the short end with a 1/4 inch seam allowance and a stretch stitch on your sewing machine. Now that you have the short end sewn, we are going to turn our neckband right side out, and we are going to fold it in half, lining up the free edge of the neckband, and we will press to hold this in place. I am now pressing the neckband in half, wrong sides together, and because I'm using double brush poly, I'm using a medium heat on my iron. I always test my iron on a scrap of fabric first to ensure that it is not too hot and that it won't melt the fabric. Each iron is a little bit different in degree of heat, and you want to find the warmest setting that you can use while still being safe and not melting your fabric. So I press all the way around, pressing the fold of the fabric to hold it in place. Now the next step that we're going to do is an additional step that I always take when constructing neckbands. We are going to baste with our sewing machine around the free edge of the fabric. You can see that the fold is on this side and the free edge is a little stuck together, is on this side. We are going to be sewing along the free edge, adhering the two layers of fabric together. I'm going to use a zigzag stitch, narrowed in width, to keep the zigzag stitch within the 1/4 inch seam allowance. And we'll do that now. I am selecting a zigzag stitch on my sewing machine. It's just the standard zigzag stitch. And I'm going to narrow the width. I have my width settings here. I'm going to narrow it to a 3.0. I'm also going to lengthen it just a bit, also to a 3.0. So I have the width and the length on 3.0. And I am simply going to sew around the free edge, staying as close to the free edge as possible. If your stitches go off the edge of your fabric just a bit, that's fine. This is only a basting stitch. So now I have my neckband basted. So this step simply helps to stabilize your neckband by preventing the free edge from curling. When you attach the neckband to the garment, you will need to stretch it just slightly, and knit fabric tends to want to curl. It keeps your neckband perfectly lined up, and it takes a little bit of the fiddly guesswork out of controlling those aspects when you are attaching it to your garment. It really just simplifies application. We are now going to attach our scoop neckband to our neckline. So you have your neckband here. You will have a center back seam. Where your seam is, this is your center back, and it will be placed at the center back of your garment. That is indicated by the wide notch that you see here. Center front is indicated by a narrow triangle notch here. And you can find center front on your neckband indicated with an identical narrow triangle notch. So one of the important things when you're attaching your neckband is to attach it to the right side of the bodice and to not have your neckband be twisted like this, to ensure that it's smooth and untwisted when you're attaching it. You will need a couple pins or clips for this next step. We are simply going to pin or clip the neckband to the neckline. So I have my center back seam here. I am going to begin by sliding it behind the fabric at the center back, lining up the seam on my neckband with the notch on the center back of the garment. Ensure that your neckband is not twisted. So you can see there that it's a nice circle and it's not twisted. Now we have a notch here and a notch here, and these indicate the shoulder seam placement marks. You will simply take this notch, line it against the right side of the fabric along your shoulder seam. And pin or clip. And you will do this to both sides. And last, you will line up the notch at the center front of your neckband with the notch on the center front of your neckline and secure there as well. So now you can see your neckband on the right side of the fabric around the neckline, and I prefer to pin at the midpoints between the clips that I currently have. So I will grasp center front in my hand and the shoulder seam in my hand, and you can see here that the neckband is shorter than the neckline. We will, as we're sewing, we will need to be stretching the neckband just slightly to be the same length as the neckline. So at this point, I take my two clips, I stretch them, wiggle it a bit until the band is the same length as the neckline. I'm going to walk my fingers to the center and clip there. We'll do that again to the other side. I have center front and the shoulder seam, and I am going to stretch my neckband to be the same length as my neckline, pinch the center, and clip. Now if you wish to do this at the midpoints in the back as well, grasping center back and the shoulder seam, and pinning there as well, you're welcome to. You really can't err on the side of adding too many clips. Even if you want your clips spaced just an inch apart, if you're a beginner, you may find that helpful. So now we're going to begin sewing with a 1/4 inch seam allowance and a stretch stitch, and I'm going to show you how we do that. I always begin my stitching at center back. So you will find center back or the seam on your neckband. I remove the clip. Ensure that the neckband and the neckline are lined up. Find your 1/4 inch seam allowance that we worked with earlier. And I am going to be using a triple stitch, which is my preferred stitch, my preferred stretch stitch on my sewing machine. You may have chosen a different stitch, and that's fine. This step will still be the same. So you can see my next clip is here. My neckband needs to be stretched just slightly in order for it to be as long as my neckline, but just slightly. You never want to overstretch so that you're stretching the bodice. You only want to be stretching the neckband. If you stretch the bodice, then this could result in wavy seams. So grasp your clip, stretch ever so slightly, ensuring that the two free edges are lined up, and stitch. When you reach your clip, remove that clip, straighten your garment, and we will do the next section. Line up the two free edges, ensuring that they're perfectly lined up, stretch ever so slightly, and sew forward to your next clip, maintaining a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Once you have attached your neckband to your garment, you may notice a small amount of puckering, and in order to help your neckband to lay flat and look professional, I always press well at the end. This is kind of like a lazy form of blocking. So you lay your garment on your ironing board and use your fingers to press it as flat and as straight as you can get it. Ensure that your seam allowance is facing down toward the bodice, both along the back of the neckline and along the front. Grab your iron set to the hottest setting that your fabric can safely handle. Give your neckline just a little bit of a stretch to remove any puckering, and press. I always move upward toward my neckband when I'm pressing the front, and then down toward the back of the neckline when I press the back. Doing this helps to set your stitches. After you have fully pressed your garment and you are satisfied with the results, let it sit until it fully cools. This will help your neckline to maintain a professional look even after washing. So I hope that this tutorial has been helpful for you, and that as you move forward and attach neckbands to your garments in the future, you can use these techniques to improve with each subsequent project.